Shalom. First off, I'd like to give an all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Yahweh, who the world literally calls God, in the name of Yahushai, who the world literally calls Jesus Christ. Alright, those are their real names in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. And they're both so-called black men, alright, men of color. Alright, secondly, I'd like to give a double honor to the apostles and elders over in Millstone, who will continue to teach us this truth. Alright, and salutations to you, Akim, out there, doing the work of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Sincerely. Alright, this is Bible Words number 9 lesson, and we're going to go into the word labor. Alright, we're going to hit some scriptures before we start hitting definitions, because this word labor, through this lesson, I realized that this word labor is actually a deep word, and it has many different meanings. Alright, so we're going to get right to it. This is Proverbs chapter 10 verse 16, and it says, "The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the fruit of the wicked, to sin." All right, the fruit of the wicked to sin. All right, so the labor of the righteous, All right, so like the work, all right, the work of the righteous, the labor of the righteous is gonna tend to life. All right, because why? Because as we covered earlier, or in the previous lesson that I did, sin, which is the transgression of the law, all right, the wages of sin is death, man. So if you're righteous, you're trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your abilities, all right, you're tending to life, all right, but the fruit of the wicked is to sin, all right. So wicked people love to sin. They love to break the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. That's why the wicked rather are going to be destroyed. Ultimately, the wicked are going to be destroyed. All right, they're going to be judged, and they're going to be put to death by the Lord, man, because they're not choosing the Lord. All right, they're not choosing the law. They're choosing their fleshly lusts. All right, they're choosing to break the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh. All right, this is Proverbs chapter 16 verse 26, and it says, "He that laboreth for himself, for his mouth shall craveth it of him." All right, so he that laboreth for himself. So a person who works, they work for themselves. All right, because their mouth craves for it. In other words, their stomach craves for it. You work because if you don't work, you don't eat. All right, and that can be put in the spiritual as well as the physical. All right, you know, if you're not seeking the Lord to feed that spirit, all right, then you're gonna be craving for it, and then you're gonna have to do the work. Or same thing, if you're hungry, all right, if you don't work, then you're gonna be hungry. And it's the same thing. If you don't put in the work for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, then your spirit is gonna crave it of you, man, and it's gonna require it of you. It's the same thing. Remember, the word here is labor. This is Lamentations chapter 5 verse 1 through 6, and it says, "Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens. We are orphans and fatherless, and our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us." All right, so this is a lamentation going into the sieging, all right, of Jerusalem. All right, I believe this is Jeremiah, under Jeremiah's time. So this is talking about the Babylonians. All right, so this is a lamentation, man. The lamentation of what? Of a lamentation. The person is lamenting. Jeremiah was lamenting. The lamentation is because they're being taken over. All right, they're falling into captivity. That's why it says we have drunken our water for money. All right, because it's their water. But now the people who have taken over them, all right, the people who have taken over them are selling them their own water. All right, it says their wood is sold unto them. It says our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest. Exactly. So these people have fallen into captivity, man. And who are these people? The Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man. You've been under captivity under various kingdoms throughout history. And the Babylonians was one of many. says, we have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread. Exactly. So they've been forced to what? To make alliances, to help, essentially, so that they can be satisfied with bread, so that they can eat. Alright? So now we're going to look at the online entomology, and we're going to go into the word labor, and we're going to go into the various iterations of the word labor. So this is definition 1. It says work hard. Alright? This is 2. It says strive to make an effort to reach a goal. Alright? It says undergo the efforts of childbirth. Alright? So that's talking about labor, like a woman with that's giving birth. Alright? We also have labor as a noun. This is a social class comprising of those who do manual work or work for wages. Alright? The other noun we have is concluding state of pregnancy from the onset of contractions to the birth of a child. Alright? And then it says labor again. It says productive work, especially physical work done for wages. All right, so we have a few versions there. So now we're gonna go into the labor in all the in the scriptures that we have read previously. All right. So the word in labor, the labor here in Proverbs 10 is actually the word pa'ala. Alright? And it says, Salakia, let me just read the Strong's first. Alright, this is Strong's G6468, pa'ala. Alright? And it says, work, recompense, reward, work, wages. Alright? So, labor essentially means to work, all right? Whether you're working for wages, whether you're working for reward, or any type of recompense, all right? It says pa'ala. It says feminine passive participle of Strong's H6466. Abstractly, work, labor, reward, wages, work. All right. But now we're gonna look at the labor that's spoken of in Proverbs 16. All right, the scripture I read previously in Proverbs, which was let me see here, Slakia. Proverbs 16 and 26. All right, which says, "He that laboreth, laboreth for himself, for his mouth craveth it of him." All right. So now the word here is amal, all right, and that's Strong's G 6001, all right. And here it says laborer, sufferer, wretched one. It says laborer, workman, sufferer, all right. It also says toiling, all right, which says which is under a verbal adjective, all right. So again, it's kind of the same thing, but this one's a little bit more specific. This one says suffer. When you're labor, when you're, and this is kind of related to the labor that is attached to childbirth, or maybe the labor that's attached to hunger pains. All right, that's amal. All right, so they're not the same word. They're similar. All right, but one of them has a little bit more vigor. The one in Proverbs 10 means work. All right, work for reward. But the one here in Proverbs 16, all right, here it says laborer, sufferer. All right, wretched one. All right, so it's someone who it's a little deeper. All right, the definition is a little different. All right, this is Proverbs in Salakia. This is labor in Lamentations 5. All right, and if we could go back real quick to Lamentations 5, where it says labor. This is Lamentations chapter 5, verse 5. It says, "Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest." All right. So this is the lamentation of being in captivity. All right. So this is Yaga'ah. All right. Yaga'a or Yaga'a, yeah. And that's Strong's H3021. All right, and it says to toil, labor, to grow weary, to be weary. All right, it says to toil, to labor, to grow weary, be weary. It says to weary, make weary, cause to go toilsomely, to make toil, make weary, cause to be weary. All right, so this definition of labor is less about work and more closely aligned to suffering. All right, it's more closely aligned to the type of work or the type of feeling that you have when you're under captivity. All right. Yeah, and then this word toil, let's just get it real quick, because it comes up. Toil means hard work. All right, originally turmoil, contention, dispute. All right, so it's hard work. That's what toil essentially means. It means hard work. But it's a different type of hard work. All right, when you're hard work in captivity, it's completely different. All right, it's completely different. All right, so I'm going to pause this lesson here, because then we're going to go into the different words, the different labor definitions in chapter in the New Testament. We already did the ones in the Old Testament. So just catch me in part 2, all right, of the word labor, Bible words. All right, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, see you in part 2.